Good day and welcome to another session of Larteen Math Drive tutorials. In this tutorial, we will discuss about the calculator variables. We will first discuss about how to activate the variables on the calculator, and afterwards we will also discuss about how to store values to the variables. And lastly, we will discuss about how to use the values that you have initially stored for calculations. So without wasting much time, let us move on to the first thing on our video outline. So let us start with a discussion on how to activate the calculator variables. If you want to comprehensively learn about how to activate all the keys on the calculator, including the variables, the link to that video is in the description box, so you can check it out. Now, on our scientific calculator, there are 9 variables. So we have A, B, C, D, E, F, X, Y, and M. So there are basically 9 variables on our scientific calculator. Now, the alpha key is used to activate all the calculator keys that are red in color. So when we check the variables, they are all red in color, which means in order to activate a variable, you will have to use the alpha key to activate them. For example, if I want to activate the variable A, so A can be located on top of the negative symbol, and it is red in color. So if I simply tap on the negative key without first activating the alpha symbol, we can realize that the negative button will rather appear on the calculator screen instead of A, which means if I want to activate the A, I will first have to activate the alpha symbol by simply tapping on alpha followed by the negative symbol. Then A will appear on the calculator screen. So if I want to activate B, B is located on top of the degree symbol, which is also red in color. So I will first have to activate the alpha button followed by the degree symbol in order to activate B. So to activate C, I tap on alpha and HYP. To activate D, I tap on alpha and sine. To activate E, I tap on alpha and then cos. To activate F, I tap on alpha and tan. To activate X, I tap on alpha and then bracket close. To activate Y, I tap on alpha and SD. And lastly, to activate M, I simply tap on alpha and M+. So this is basically how to activate the calculator keys. We use the alpha key to activate them. So let us move on to discuss about how to store values to the variables. When storing values to the variables, you have to go through these steps. So what you have to do first is to enter the number that you want to store into the calculator. For example, if I want to store x equals 9, then what I have to do first is to enter 9 into the calculator. So I enter 9. And secondly, you activate STO. So when we check on top of RCL, we can locate STO. And STO is an abbreviation for store. And it is yellow in color, which means I will have to use the shift key to activate it. So I simply tap on shift and then RCL to activate STO, which has been indicated on top of the calculator screen. And lastly, I choose the variable where I want to store the value. In this case, I want to store x is equal to 9, which means the variable is x. So I simply activate x by tapping on the bracket close sign. And we can see that 9 has been stored to x. So this is basically the procedure that you have to go through in order to store values to the calculator. I have prepared some instructions that we are going to systematically follow in order for us to familiarize ourselves with how to store values to the variables on the calculator. So without wasting much time, let us move on to the instructions. For the first instruction, you have to store A equals 7 into the calculator. So we follow the procedure that we used earlier. So we are storing A equals 7. And as I earlier stated, you have to first input the number into the calculator. So I input 7 into the calculator. Secondly, I ask the calculator to store the value 7 by activating STO. So STO is located on top of RCL. And STO is yellow in color, which means I will have to use the shift key to activate it. So I simply tap on shift and then RCL to activate STO. And lastly, I choose the variable where I want to store the number 7. So in this case, we are storing A is equal to 7. So the variable is A. So I tap on the negative symbol to activate A. So I have stored A equals 7 into the calculator. So now, let us move on to the second instruction. For the second instruction, we are to store B equals 14 into the calculator. And as I stated earlier, what you have to do is to first input the number that you want to store into the calculator. So I input 14 into the calculator. And secondly, I activate STO. So I simply tap on Shift and then RCL to activate STO. And afterwards, I choose the variable where I want to store the number. In this case, the variable is B. So B is on top of the degree sign. So I simply tap on the degree sign to store 14 to B. So we have successfully stored B equals 14 into the calculator. So let us move on to the third instruction. For the third instruction, we have to check whether A equals 7 has been stored into the calculator. So in checking whether a particular value has been stored into the calculator, we have to follow these steps. What you have to do is to first press on RCL. So RCL is an abbreviation for recall. And secondly, you press on the respective variable. So for the third instruction, we are checking whether the A equals 7 that we stored earlier into the calculator has actually been stored into the calculator. So as I earlier mentioned, we first press on RCL. So RCL is an abbreviation for recall. And this has been indicated on top of the calculator screen. And afterwards, you tap on the respective variable, which is A. So we are checking for A is equal to 7. So I simply tap on A. And then we can see that A equals 7. So we have successfully confirmed that A equals 7 has been stored into the calculator. Now, let's move on to the fourth instruction. For the fourth instruction, you have to check whether B equals 14 has also been stored into the calculator. So we follow the same procedure. So what we have to do is to first tap on RCL, recall, and afterwards, we tap on the respective variable. So we are checking for B equals 14. So we tap on B. So the B is located on the degree symbol. So I tap on the degree symbol. And we can see that B equals 14, which means we have successfully confirmed that B equals 14 has earlier been stored into the calculator. So let us move on to the third item on the video outline. So we are going to learn how to use the stored values for calculations. I have designed some questions that we are going to use for this particular demonstration. So without wasting much time, let us move on to the questions. So for the first question, if x equals 3 and y equals 8, evaluate 2x plus y. So this is the question. So what you have to do is to first store the values into the calculator as we did earlier. So we have x equals 3 and y equals 8. So I will first store x equals 3 into the calculator. So what I have to do is to first input the number into the calculator. And secondly, I activate STO. So I simply tap on Shift and then RCL to activate STO, which has been indicated on top of the calculator screen. And afterwards, I tap on the variable. So we are storing x is equal to 3. So I tap on bracket close to activate x. So I have stored x equals 3 into the calculator. And now for the second variable, we have y equals 8. So I input 8 into the calculator. And afterwards, I activate STO by simply tapping on Shift and then RCL. And afterwards, I tap on the respective variable. So we are storing y equals 8. So I simply tap on y. So I tap on SD because the y is located on top of the SD. So we have stored y equals 8. So we have successfully stored x equals 3 and y equals 8 into the calculator. So what we have to do next is to also enter the expression that we are to evaluate into the calculator. So we have 2x plus y. So we enter 2x plus y into the calculator. So I tap on 2. And as I earlier mentioned, we use the alpha key to activate the variables. So I want to activate x. So I simply tap on alpha and then bracket close to activate x. So we have 2x plus y. So I tap on alpha and then SD to activate y. So you have successfully entered 2x plus y into the calculator. So what I have to do next is to simply tap on equal to. And after I tap on equal to, the calculator will automatically substitute the values that we initially stored into the expression, which means the answer to the first question is A. So if you solve it manually, this will be the result. So now, let us move on to the second question. For the second example, we have to evaluate c squared minus 3d if c equals 14 and d equals 9. So what we have to do is to first store the values into the calculator as we did earlier. So we have c equals 14, so we store that into the calculator. So what I have to do is to first enter the number 14. And secondly, I activate STO by simply tapping on Shift and RCL. And afterwards, I choose the variable c by simply tapping on HYP. because C can be located on top of the HYP. So we have stored C equals 14. So now, let us store D equals 9. So I enter 9 into the calculator, and then I tap on Shift and RCL to activate store. And afterwards, I choose D by simply tapping on sign. So I have stored D equals to 9. So what we have to do next is to input the expression also into the calculator. So we have C squared minus 3D. So I input that into the calculator. So I first activate C squared. I tap on alpha and HYP. So C, and then I tap on the S squared button for C squared minus 3D. So I input 3 and then I activate D by simply tapping on alpha and sign. So I have successfully inputted C squared minus 3D. I simply tap on equal to, and the calculator will automatically substitute C equals to 14 and D equals to 9 into the expression. So we have 169, which means the answer to the second question is B. The last question is a WASSCE examination question. Solve it and drop your answer in the comment section. I will review it at the appropriate time. This is a new channel and I really need your subscription. So please subscribe to the channel before exiting this video. Tap on the like button if you found this video very helpful. My name is Larteen and I hope we had an amazing time together. Thank you and see you in the next video.